Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Argyle Kitchen. I'm ChristyO, your baker for the night. So I want to welcome you back and want to give you a little introduction to what we're going to do tonight. I am going to use my mom's recipe for banana bread, and I am actually going to make apple muffins tonight. So let me tell you a little bit how I came across this recipe tonight. So I served my kids applesauce the other night, and sadly nobody wanted it. So I tried really hard not to waste, so I went ahead and I saved all the applesauce. So here it is, and that is going to be our fruit ingredient in our muffins tonight. So this recipe does call for bananas, but you can kind of play with other fruits and they always come out delicious. So what I have here, I've already mixed the dry ingredients, and it's late on a Thursday night. Tomorrow's Friday, so I want to have a nice surprise for my boys when they wake up. They're sleeping now, so I'm going to use just the hand whisk tonight. We're not going to bring the blender out. But in this bowl, I have 1 1/4 cups of sugar, a 1/2 cup of oats, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to go ahead, I've mixed it a little bit. So we're just mixing around the dry ingredients, getting them ready for the wet ones. And we're gonna go ahead and then mix the wet ones in. And I like to get everything in the bowl before I start mixing it. So we have our 1 1/2 cup applesauce. And if you were to do this with bananas, it's about 4 bananas, but 1 1/2 cup smashed. All right, so we're gonna pour that in. Got our spatula here. We can just scoop the rest in. Then we have 1 stick of melted butter, and my mom actually uses salted, but I use unsalted, so I would say just kind of go with what you usually use. I don't notice too big of a difference either way, but I do prefer the unsalted. Then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna do that here. There we go. Next, we have a 1/2 cup milk. We're gonna go ahead and add that in. And then the next thing we're gonna add, and our final ingredient, is gonna be 2 eggs. And tonight, I emptied my bag of flour, so I'm actually using this for trash tonight. So we try to recycle here and there where we can. All right, so we're gonna do our 2 eggs next. I'm gonna crack them right into the container I had the milk in. So that way I'm not dirtying another dish. All right, they look good. And then we're gonna go ahead, give the eggs a little whisk. So we're just gonna get those, we're gonna pour those in, and that completes all of our wet ingredients. All right, now I'm just gonna mix this up, and you'll see how easy it is. It's actually sometimes easier just to use a hand whisk instead of bringing out your mixer, then having to wash the beaters, although the dishwasher is a saving grace. All right, so we're mixing this up and it looks good. I love muffins, I love apple, I love banana, so these are gonna be delicious. But you can look here, see how good that batter looks? And it's not a lot of ingredients. And I don't know about you guys, but my kids like to eat those little mini muffins and things like that. And what I like about this is they're getting that muffin flavor, but it's so much healthier. We don't have any preservatives in here. It's all natural, very delicious. All right, so we've got that mixed. I'm gonna just do 1 more scrape to make sure I get everything from the bottom. Okay. And that looks good. All right, so now what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna bring the cupcake pan over, and we're gonna start scooping these into the pan. And I have here just an ice cream scooper, so you can start scooping these in. And I like to do a nice full scoop, not too big. We don't want them to overflow, but we do want to make sure we have a nice size muffin in there. And before we got started, I did preheat my oven to 350, so you want to make sure that you do that before you start baking. And these are going to go in for about 10 minutes, and then we turn them and do 10 more minutes. And you can do muffins, or you can also do a loaf, whichever suits your family best. I prefer the muffins. They're just a little easier to pick up and go. These are also nice if you're having a brunch. You can do mini muffin style, or you could do a sliced loaf. These also work well if you're like me and sometimes you have to call on your neighbors to help you with your kids off the bus. When you make a batch of these, you just take a little bag over to their house. They really appreciate that and look forward to helping you the next time. All right, so I'm just getting these scooped. And as soon as they're finished, we'll pop those into the oven. Okay, add a little bit more to this one. I think I got a little shy on that scoop. Okay, all right, and we can top these. There's a couple things you can top them with. You can make actually like a little streusel top, which is like a little bit of butter, flour, and brown sugar. You can top it with oatmeal, just sprinkle it on top. You can top it with sugar in the raw. Any of those work. I am actually gonna just top them with a little bit of oatmeal tonight. And I'm just adding a little bit more to a few. Sometimes I get myself in trouble when I do this, but it looks like they could use just a little bit more. All right, and so this batter tonight looks like we may be able to get 16 muffins out. All right, so I think that's good. I better stop before I get in trouble. All right, then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take some of the oatmeal and I'm just gonna sprinkle it right on top, and that's gonna be my crusty topping tonight. All right, so we're just gonna sprinkle a little oatmeal over each muffin, and it just kind of bakes in, but just gives it a nice look, a nice little extra oaty flavor. All right, it's looking good, looking good. And also I want to point out that I was using cinnamon applesauce, so we don't need to add any cinnamon because it does have it in the applesauce. All right, I'm gonna take these yummy muffins, I'm gonna put them in the oven, and I'll see you back. Hey y'all, welcome back. Look what I have. So our muffins are ready and they smell delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take these out of the pan so they can cool. You don't wanna leave them in for too long because believe it or not, they can overbake while they're in there. They are still hot and baking. And you can see how nice the oatmeal looks on top, and you can add more or less, whatever your preference is. But I'm just gonna lay these on the counter here. They're gonna cool off. And I have one, excuse me, here that I have already cut in half, because as you know, you have to taste everything you cook. So I have it cut in half and I'm gonna take a taste of this. And I don't like to taste them when they're too hot because I feel like it kind of camouflages some of the flavor. So I like to open it up, let it cool, and make sure it's exactly what I was looking for. So I'm gonna cut into this, take a little bite, and it looks delicious, and you can just tell, so moist, so rich. That is delicious. And the best thing about it is we use that applesauce we otherwise would have thrown away. And that makes me feel so good. I'm also gonna love the fact that in the morning, all of my boys are gonna be eating homemade muffins just for them. So much better than a lot of the other choices. So I think that's it for tonight. Just remember, always take a little sugar everywhere you go, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night. This is ChristyO from the Argyle Home Kitchen.